How many of you have heard something called the scarf model? And not the thing around your neck. Fabulous. So SCARF is an acronym, and it's coined by Dr. David Rock, who's co-founder and director of the Neural Leadership Institute. SCARF stands for this: status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, and fairness. These words are really what are called social domains of existence. That's how Dr. Rock has coined them. That is the social domains in which every one of us as humans operates every day. So what are they? Status is about relative importance to others. Certainty is about being able to predict your future. Autonomy provides a sense of control over one's environment. Relatedness is a sense of safety with others, being in the group, being chosen for the team versus being on the outside. And fairness is a perception of fair exchange between parties. According to Dr. Rock, these 5 social domains activate either the primary threat brain circuitry or the primary reward brain circuitry in every interaction that we have. This is important in the workplace. Why? Because the brain deals with the workplace first and foremost as a social system. I want you to think about an interaction in the last week, 10 days, whatever, where you were irritated, just rubbed you the wrong way. Got one? And now I want you to look back at those words and see if you can figure out what triggers were tripped in you. Again, it's only for self-awareness, and there's likely more than one. These things have a multiplier effect. Was your status triggered? Was your relatedness triggered? Was your sense of certainty triggered? Those quick exercises are simply to help you better understand yourself, your triggers, and noticing it is step 1 for change and also remaining cool under pressure. Basically, we've got 3 choices when we're in one of those irritated situations, right? Your 3 choices. You suppress your emotion. You can blow up at work or at home. Usually not too good for relationship health. Or we can try to regulate that emotion, that response to our trigger being tripped, and shift the situation. And one of the simplest ways to do that shift is called labeling. It's giving that emotional response a name. This simple act of going, geez, I've been scarfed, is enough to bring some humor, some awareness to a situation and help you to try to look at things differently. So let's think about these scarf social domains in relation to a boss. Just speaking to your boss or someone of higher status is likely to activate a threat response. My boss sees me walking down the hall and says, Kate, you know what? I need to talk to you for about 5 minutes. Can you stop in my office? I don't think that, oh, great, I'm going to get an award. No, what do? I say, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? Did I miss a deadline? Did I say something? Automatically, our tendency is to the threat response, automatically. In addition, a boss can create uncertainty by not setting clear expectations and by continuously seeking improvements. In terms of control and autonomy, the boss has final say-so, final control usually over the environment, and that automatically reduces one's autonomy. Relatedness. Bosses naturally tend to segregate themselves. They're not with their team. But what's that do? That creates a threat on relatedness. And finally, a boss can be seen as unfair very easily, largely because you assume they make more money, and yet they're not doing the direct work that you are day to day. So the boss-employee relationship, it's very difficult, it's fraught with social domain threats, and it also is one of the biggest reasons that people leave companies. A couple of ideas for the workplace are this. Public acknowledgement and congratulations of something and a recognition of what that person does is enough to raise that level of social status and can have years of impact. When it comes to certainty, for better understanding about our environment, I happen to know for a fact that several of you in this room probably are dealing with some uncertainty in the workplace right now due to mergers, acquisitions, and company consolidations. What can bosses do there and leaders do? They can sit down with employees and share as much as what's happening when and what to be expected is possible. That enough is to dampen that uncertainty threat that employees are feeling. In terms of autonomy, what can we do there in the workplace? We can give people more freedom to choose how they work or where they work through flex work arrangements. That's one of the big reasons behind it. Relatedness can be increased by providing opportunities for people to network more with their peers. Conferences like this are tremendous opportunities to help with the relatedness quotient. To increase a sense of fairness, I think a good example from my Dow days were our community service days, where employees could choose to give a day of their time and talents, and often decrease the sense of unfairness by helping others in need. You can leverage SCARF in everyday situations as well, just by paying attention to the way you phrase things. Instead of, I want you to do this, instead say, would you be willing to do this? Another method to mitigate when you or others have been scarfed is through something called reframing or reappraising. And reappraising is just that, looking at the situation and changing our interpretation of an event or reframing it from another perspective, all in an attempt to create a shift from a threat to a toward. A third way to improve our overall ability to thwart off threats in the first place is through mindfulness. It's a fancy word for becoming aware of what's going on around you as taken in through your senses. The direct experience circuitry, which is where mindfulness comes in, activates when you're not thinking about the past or the future or yourself. It's the experience of paying very close attention to the present in an open and accepting way without judgment. The greater the ability one has to be mindful in the present moment, the more ability one has to regulate one's emotions. As a world, we have some daunting challenges. I like this quote from Albert Einstein. He said, "We cannot solve our problems with the same level of thinking that created them." I hope you all here have learned something and gained ideas to foster great interactions at home, at work, and in your social settings. I hope you experiment with labeling, reappraising, and mindfulness as tools to be your best self before, during, and after a fall, and who knows, perhaps preventing those falls at all.